Hello again, my name's Diane and I design and make patchwork quilts. And this is a little scrap buster that you can make in a day. Strictly speaking, it's not a quilt, it's only a flimsy at this stage. If you'd like to see how I made this one, please continue watching. Today I woke up and I decided that I was going to tackle this little bundle of fabric. There are all sorts in here. I haven't looked at it for quite a while. It's in an A4 plastic wallet. It's not a huge amount, it'll be a children's quilt, obviously it's children's theme fabric. So let's open it and see what we have. And there we are. There's a nice little selection. There's not a huge amount of any one design, any one fabric, but there's a nice variety. So I think we could make a nice boy's quilt out of this, or a little girl that likes big vehicles. Okay, I think I'll go to the design board. Well, that sounded very grand, didn't it? Let's go to the design wall. This is my design wall, a squared exercise book. And this is the design I've come up with. It's a simple variation of a medallion quilt. So it has a centre block and then it works outwards in bands, and I've tried to keep the fabric with the vehicles on intact as much as possible. So I've used most of the fabric and we'll start sewing it with this centre block, and it's 5.5 inches wide and 8 inches long. And so this is the layout for the centre of the quilt, and as you can see, parts of it are directional, so there will be a direction that this quilt will lay in. But we'll sew this one together and we'll have a look at that. And that looks like that. And so now I'm going to go on the second round and I'll show you what that looks like. So for this round, I've kept the fabric quite deep. It's 5.5 inches deep, and the top bar is 10.5 inches and the bottom bar is 10.5 inches. The sides are 5.5 inches by 13 inches, and then there's a little full patch in the corner in the red and white 3-inch squares. So now I'm going to put on this little block of mint green background, and this is all directional as well. Okay, put those two together. I've sewn the bar on the bottom and the top in the mint green, and now I've got to put a piece down the right and the left and the full patch in the corner, and you can just see that I'm taking white squares out in a diagonal radiating from the centre just to add a little bit more interest. So I'll sew those on and we'll have a look at the next round. And the next step is to put a band across the bottom and the top, and I've got 2 little squares to fit on each side. So these bands are 3 inches by 15.5 inch, and they're 3-inch squares. So I'll join those and we'll have a look at that. And now I'm on the side bars, and they are 18 inches by 3 inches, and then there's a green and a white square, 3-inch square on each end of that. And that's the placement. So I'll sew those together. We'll have a look at that one. And so that round is sewn in, and now I'm going to put a strip of fabric 3 inches wide by 20.5 inches along the bottom and the top, and there's a 3-inch square attached to each end of that. Space is a little bit tight now, so we've moved down to the floor, and you can just see along the top though, that's the next blue band of 20.5 inches by 3 inch, and there's 2 little navy blue 3-inch squares in the corner, and I'll do that on the top and the bottom. We'll have a look at that one. And that's that piece sewn, and now I'm going to put the sides on, and they are 23 inches by 3 inches, and they have a blue and a white 3-inch square attached to those. So I'll show you the layout. And so I'll sew those edges together and put those on, and then we'll move on to the next round. Very easy sewing. It's coming together really quickly. This really is a quilt that you can make in one day. So that's all placed together and sewn, and now we're on the penultimate round. And on this round I've had to get really inventive and piece together lots of scraps, and I'll show you how I've done that one. So there's a 15.5 inch by 3 inch strip on the bottom, and then there are 3 squares on either side, a navy, a white and a black, and they are all 3-inch squares. So I'll join those together. There are 2 of those, one for the top, one for the bottom. And now the top and bottom, owing on that row, we've got the sides, and they are even more complicated. So I'll show you that one in pieces, I think. And so it begins with an 8 inch by 3 inch rectangle. And then I add 3 3-inch squares to the top, a navy, a light blue and another navy, and I do the same on the bottom. So repeat that for both sides. And so the end then is white, black, red, white, black, red, and the same at the other end. So I'll join those together and that'll be that round finished. There we go. I've sewn those 2 side strips on, and then I've completed it with a 3-inch border that also has construction vehicles on. So that's the flimsy complete. It's all vehicles, big wheels, construction, racing cars, tractors, all sorts of things. I'm not at the moment able to quilt this. I have other things going on in my life that make that a little bit difficult, but I can find a few minutes here and there to make some smaller projects. So if you've enjoyed watching this, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up. And if you're interested, on my community page I'll put a diagram of how I constructed this out of all the tiny pieces I had, and I'll give you the sizes if you're interested. But thanks for watching. Take good care of yourselves. Bye.